Sunbury Motors gives you 4 city blocks of new Fords to choose from. Sunbury Motors Ford is coming off their best-selling year in its 105-year history, and they feel pretty good about themselves. SMC has committed to Ford Motor Company to sell 1,000 new Fords in 2020. That means you get to pick from 25 of the totally redesigned 2020 Ford Escapes that start as low as $21,960. Take up to $6,500 off MSRP of the all-new 2020 Ford Explorer, and they're priced from just $34,865. Sunbury Motors is Central PA's truck capital. It's right there on the map. Choose from over 120 new Ford F-150s and Super Duties. The F-Series truck has been the #1 selling vehicle for 43 consecutive years, and SMC has them on sale for as low as $26,794. If you're smart, you'll buy one today. Sunbury Motors in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, proudly serving the Susquehanna Valley's transportation needs for over a century. Sunbury Motors.
Welcome to One on One. I'm Francis Scarcella. This week's edition of One on One, we're being joined with musical sensation Jack Pyers.
All right,
How
man.
are you?
Sensation.
Nice to see you. So
to be here.
You are out and about again. You're doing your thing. You're all over the place.
Yes.
Let me start by saying I got it, and you would be able to say this more than anybody, but the area, you're a Sunbury guy. You grew up in Sunbury.
Yes, I did.
Shikellamy graduate.
Shikellamy.
And then you toured the world. Then you were
Yes.
gone, torn all over the place. Kiss.
Yes,
You
played
toured
with Kiss.
Who else?
I think that was it. No. we did mostly our own headline shows. We did a couple dates with Kiss, and then a couple other, Dangerous Toys, a couple other
The hair
contemporary
band,
bands.
and
Yeah, we got lumped into that hair band thing. Even though we had lots of hair, we weren't really quite
hair band.
a
Well,
hair band.
we'll get into that, but let me say, and you can probably agree, but this area has a lot of musical talent, right? I mean,
Yes, it was a pretty awesome run that occurred because even though I was the only one from here in Dirty Looks, the band actually was based here and developed out of this market with the support of all the fantastic fans in this area. And then next band up was Badleys.
that's what I was going to say.
Broke out
Yeah.
national, and
Yep.
then after them was Breaking Benjamin. So out of this little Susquehanna Valley
and you have
deal
Bre-
with
and you-
3 major
And you have
acts.
Brett Michaels, who is not far down the road.
Right,
So, I mean, right just out of here,
A lot of
it's
activity.
kind of, and the guy from Warrant, right? Wasn't the guy from Warrant was from Harrisburg as well?
Was he?
So,
I don't know. I
Yeah.
always looked at them. They were
Yeah.
always a Hollywood band.
Oh, they're
So
Hollywood.
I didn't know he was from around
yeah,
here.
from down by Harrisburg. So, but anyway, you're still doing your thing.
Yeah, in various forms. Bringing up the Badleys, Breaking Benjamin, various members from those bands. I get together with Brett from the Badleys, Jeremy from Breaking Benjamin, and Paul Smith from the Badleys is running a studio over
Yep.
in Northumberland. We all get together and
You
write
go over and
songs
play and do the whole.
record songs and
Is there something in the works with all the going out?
I release occasionally a solo record that has those guys on playing, so we're all kind of playing together. Jeremy had actually played on I had reconnected with Henrik, who was the lead singer guitar player from Dirty Looks in '08, and we did a record together, and Jeremy from Breaking Ben actually did the drums on that record.
Oh, good.
Called Super Deluxe.
So, what year did you graduate, Shikellamy?
Jeez. Now we're gonna have to 74.
74. So 1974, you graduate from Shikellamy.
Yeah.
And tell me where you go from there. You decide you're going to be in the music business.
Well, see, my music career starts before that. So I was one of the original founding members of a local band called Harpo.
Still plays today.
Yes. So we started that band in '72.
So you're a sophomore in high school?
Yeah, I was like, and my mom sent me to school early. She like 4 years old. It's like, get out the door, go to school. So I graduated when I was 17. So yeah, so I was like 15. We started Harpo. Playing. I was 15 years old, playing in bars, doing that thing. So graduated from high school, went to college for a couple of weeks, literally. And I was like, I don't want to do this. So dropped out of college, it was like, all my eggs were in that rock and roll basket. Was with Harpo up till I think it was about 1986. And I mean, at that point, that band, I mean, we were touring the entire East Coast up through Canada. We were had a lot going on.
Every day, playing somewhere different every day.
Yeah, I mean, what the unique thing about where we're located, what we would do, you can get to so many major
New York,
markets.
Philly, Baltimore, quickly.
Right, so like one week we'd go up, we'd play Erie, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, come home for a couple days, then we get down, play Baltimore, Washington, somewhere else. We'd take a shoot in, play New York City, shoot up to Boston. We would go up to Canada, we would play up there for, a couple of months at a time, where we'd go up and, tour through Toronto, Montreal,
Right.
Quebec City, all that
So
kind
you're
of stuff.
done with Harpo, not per se done, but then you decide to.
Yeah, so what happened was, because Harpo was touring so much and was really a top draw in a lot of major markets, I had met a guy who was a drummer in Erie. And he had just come back. He was in a band that was fairly successful, not in LA, but in Orange County, which is right outside of LA. And, every time I'd come through town, play a show, he'd come up, say hi, blah, 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 So we kept in touch. And just one day out of nowhere, he called me on the phone and said, man, I just did this session with this cat, and you got to check this out. So I said, okay, man. There's a whole backstory to that. You don't have enough time for that. So I drove out to Erie. Well, he sent me a tape, checked it out. Great stuff. Drove out to Erie, where Henrik was living at the time. His mother was there. So Henrik is a import from Denmark. Moved here as a kid. We got together in a dingy old bar and wrote "Put a Spell on You," which is one of the songs off of Cool from the Wire, that night. And I was like, I'm in. And then things progressed from there.
Progressed
Yes,
from
right.
there. And you guys hit the billboards, right? You had a song that hit the billboards.
I don't know, did we?
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome.
Tell us about that.
I don't know which song it was, but that's awesome. I can only presume it may have been a song called "Oh Ruby."
Correct.
Okay, so Henrik and I were musically kindred spirits, and we had a great affection for old AC/DC with Bon Scott. So, and then another part of this story goes back to Harpo. Because Henrik, when we'd play through Erie, Henrik would come and see Harpo, even though I didn't know him at the time. Harpo used to end every night with a song called "Let There Be Rock" by AC/DC, which is just a total barn burner, fast, hard rock. So the drummer that originally put Henrik and I together, the plan was to go to LA and put this together. At the last minute, he bailed out. So that left Henrik and I. So Henrik came here, moved in with me, and we're working at putting this thing together. So we're sitting in my basement, and Henrik's like, man, we need that song. Like Harpo ends every night with "Let There Be Rock." We need that song that's like that. So I was like, okay, let's do it. So we wrote "Oh Ruby," which has, if you listen to it in the middle section, we do a little homage to Bon Scott, where Henrik had the ability to sound very much like Bon, and he did that in that song, and that was like our little tip of the hat to Bon Scott.
We're going to come back. We're going to talk about, you did a music video?
Couple of them.
You did a couple music
You
videos. We're going to
betcha.
talk about that. And then we're going to talk about currently what you're doing, and you're coming back to the area to perform.
That's the most exciting part of this
That's what
all.
we're going to talk about. We'll be right back.
Sunbury Motors gives you 4 city blocks of new Fords to choose from. Sunbury Motors Ford is coming off their best-selling year in its 105-year history, and they feel pretty good about themselves. SMC has committed to Ford Motor Company to sell 1,000 new Fords in 2020. That means you get to pick from 25 of the totally redesigned 2020 Ford Escapes that start as low as $21,960. Take up to $6,500 off MSRP of the all-new 2020 Ford Explorer, and they're priced from just $34,865. Sunbury Motors is Central PA's truck capital. It's right there on the map. Choose from over 120 new Ford F-150s and Super Duties. The F-Series truck has been the #1 selling vehicle for 43 consecutive years, and SMC has them on sale for as low as $26,794. If you're smart, you'll buy one today. Sunbury Motors in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, proudly serving the Susquehanna Valley's transportation needs for over a century. Sunbury Motors.
All right, welcome back. We're joined with musical sensation Jack Pyers. You're still in the game. Tell us about you get to New York and you start shooting a couple music videos. How is that from a guy from Sunbury, Shikellamy graduate? Now you're.
It was so cool, so cool. So the Oh Ruby video was shot at Studio 54. It had just closed from its heyday. So, I mean, it just doesn't get any cooler than that. You know, we just, we're rock stars at that point. We just show up and they've got all the marshals lined behind us and got the lights going, got a director. It's kind of bizarre, though, because it's like never even met any of the production people. I mean, we had our road crew,
Right.
but all the director and all that.
Right. But sitting in there, coming from the area, everybody knows you. Don't you feel like I made it? Here I am. I made it. Or was there always something you wanted to do?
You know,
more?
You know, it's like that thing of being an overnight sensation, but it took me 20 years to get there, you know what I mean? So everything was, for me, was very incremental. So never really quite, I mean, like the day we got signed to Atlantic Records, Henrik and I drove from my house to New York City in like my 1984 Dodge Omni, you know, we're like,
Right.
you know, so
yeah.
it was all very measured
Yeah.
as it went along.
Yeah.
You know, there was like having Max Norman of Ozzy Osbourne fame produce our record. That was a real rush because he was like a super talented guy and really taught us a lot about recording.
Did you start getting a lot of phone calls from the old high school friends and everybody else saying, "Hey, come on, how about some tickets?"
You know, high school wasn't. You know, I didn't really dig high school. I like had it all measured out as to what was the maximum amount of days I could not go to school and not get my parents in trouble. So that was high school. You know, I didn't dig high school.
Yeah, but you did like coming and playing in the bars here because everybody knew who you were.
Yes. You know, that was great.
What were some of the old bars you played in around here when you first got started?
Around here, so
People would remember.
gosh, I mean, there was so we played the Old Trail Inn over on the Old Trail. We played Al's Cafe in Danville. We played. There was some kind of a bar. It used to be like Sid Suds or something like that over on 3rd Street.
You played there.
Played there. But then the other side of it was because of having been in Harpo, we were able, I mean, we would play all the local haunts, but we were also able to go out to State College, play there. We played Buffalo, Rochester,
Right.
all of these venues that I had relationships with from my days in Harpo, which really gave us a leg up because typically, because when Dirty Looks came out, we just came out as an all original act, no covers.
Right.
Typically, a band like that wouldn't be able to play those venues, but because I had those relationships with all of those club owners, we were able to do that.
And now you're back. Now you're ready to go. Start off 2020. Tell us about what's upcoming.
Well, so as I'm sure everybody listening to this know, Henrik had passed away a number of years ago. Him and I were able to reconnect in '08, did a record called Super Deluxe, which was great. Henrik had an alcohol problem. He had a window of sobriety that him and I were able to connect, did that record, and then shortly after that, fell back into addiction to alcohol, passed away, I'm guessing maybe 2010, '09, something like that. So we really didn't have any intentions on kind of reuniting this, but a local guy by the name of Travis Fisher has been harassing me mercilessly for years now to get this back together. So it's taken a couple years to do it because all the other guys are still touring musicians. Plus we had to get someone to step in and fill Henrik's role. And thankfully, a good friend of ours, Jason McMaster from Dangerous Toys, which again was a contemporary band back in the day. And actually Paul, who is the lead guitar player from Dirty Looks, now plays in Dangerous Toys when those guys go out and do dates. So Jason stepped up to the plate and said he would be into stepping in and doing the vocals for us. So it's taken a couple years to get it together because there's a lot of moving parts. Those guys reside in Austin and are doing dates. Gene lives in Baltimore, who is the drummer. He's still touring, so there were a lot of moving parts, but we finally were able to lock it down.
The date is March
21st. We're going to be doing a date in Baltimore on the 20th, and then we're up here at DH&L Fire Company, so they just have a big hall that we'll be doing the show in with a couple other bands, local bands. Leadfoot, and Stonewall Jackson. There it is.
From the background. So yeah. But so that's cool, right? You're excited to see everybody again, and
it'll be great.
Yeah.
Gene and I are going to fly out to Austin mid-February, do a week of rehearsals, get everything organized and together, and then we'll be ready to burn.
So you're excited. What time is the show at?
Doors open at 7, and I presume we will hit the stage 9-ish.
9, yeah. But you're excited. I mean, does it bring back that feeling of?
Yeah. It's going to be very good, and it'll be very, very good for Gene, Paul, and myself to reunite and do this.
When would have been the last time you played with these guys?
Okay, so for me, at the end, our second Atlantic release was called Turn of the Screw. On the way back from that tour, there was a falling out between Henrik and myself.
What year was this?
90.
Wow.
And so I was gone. I did come back. I don't know how deep you want to get into this. So after I left Atlantic, I shouldn't say that. Atlantic, because the band was, we ended up getting a management team that we thought would be great, but it turned out they didn't have our best interest at heart,
Right.
and really messed the band up, and then kind of ended up pitting members against
So the
each
bottom
other.
line is you didn't play in a long time with these guys.
Long
and so this is
time.
for you, so it's like reliving and going back, and everybody to agree to it is a wonderful thing, I guess. For
Yes,
you, just to-
yes.
Yeah.
I don't look at it as much as reliving and going back as to a forward
But the
Looking
reconnection
thing
is a good thing.
is
so.
fantastic.
So there it is, March 21st, 7 o'clock, doors open, DH&L Fire Hall.
Yes,
You're ready to hit the stage?
absolutely. I'm ready now. We
Yeah.
should just do this show now. Let's go.
Well, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. I'm sure everybody in the area that remembers you and wants to come and see you will be lined up to get in and start this whole thing over again.
I hope so. It'll be a great time.
Appreciate it. Thank
All
you
right,
so
thank
much.
you.